The Japan glazer. What is the Japan glazer? And what exactly is Japan glazing? So I learned this term pretty recently and don't remember where, but someone commented or told me, oh, you know, like Japan glazing. It means, you know, embellishing stuff about Japan, like Japan is so amazing, so perfect, so polite, so clean, so safe. And wow, look at this place, amazing, huh? So I'm shooting this video impromptu. I didn't plan this video, I didn't outline it. I'm just kind of thinking about my experiences here in Japan. Nice, very nice. So I'm gonna do the best I can to try and frame this Japan glazing situation, both for foreigners outside Japan and inside Japan, and Japanese inside Japan, because there's kind of two ways to think about Japan glazers, Japan glazing. Look at that, pretty sweet, huh? Yeah, that's a nice backdrop for this video today. So Japan glazing, what is the issue here? The issue is everyone thinks, not everyone, but the majority of people in the world, especially outside Japan, think that Japanese society is this. Like, you know, everything in Japan is so spiritual or amazing or moral, not corrupt, there's no bad manners because this, right? This. Like, these places are amazing, by the way. Shrines and temples are all over Japan. You don't need to come into Tokyo and go to the big ones, the famous ones. Mie Jingu, I think, is near Shibuya, or Ise Jingu is the most famous shrine in Japan. That's like, I think it's Yamagata-ken, but these places are everywhere. So you can just go anywhere in Japan. You will always find temples and shrines, and they're always amazing, just like this, right? But this is not real Japan life. This is not modern life. Japan isn't like this in the real world, where real people live. Usually, you know, mostly in cities. Very cool, huh? Real quick, this is where we're going. Down these stairs. So I'll try my best not to break my leg and look into the camera. Probably won't look directly at the camera because I don't want to die. But I'll do my best about this Japan glazing situation. So yeah, like, the real world isn't this. This doesn't extend to everyday Japanese life and everyday Japanese behavior. They're just not the same. They're not connected, right? So obviously, if you watched any videos on my channel, people won't come to spiritual places and do Qigong, like sexual assault. They won't attack foreigners like they've attacked me, and all the foreigners I talk to, they've all been attacked basically on trains or somewhere else. You know, smokers won't come here and flick their cigarette butts. People won't litter face masks here. Garbage won't be everywhere. So, you know, that's not this. These places aren't connected, right? So Japan glazing tries to take this stuff. That's the old shrine, by the way, still here. Tries to take this stuff and pretend that modern Japanese society is just like this, like clean and perfect and respectful. And it's just not. It is not that way in modern Japan. It's glazed. It's fake frosting, right? It's putting on fake cake frosting. Talking about the glazing now, to create an image that's this, right? This is not Japan glazing. This is real Japan, but it's spiritual Japan. It's not modern or contemporary Japan. But somehow, the glazers, people that pump up Japan as perfect and amazing and, oh, Japan does everything better, pretend that this is how real Japanese modern life is. And that's just not true, unfortunately. So let's break down the glazers. So first I'll start with the worst type of glazer. And that's the foreigner, or the gaijin, glazer. So they're the worst because they're the majority of the glazers. And many of them haven't been to Japan, and they see stuff in social media and they're like, wow, Japan is just like this. People are just like this in Japan right now. Right? They don't know anything. And people here miss that Japan is clean, and it's not. Japan is very dirty. I live in Japan for many years. In real family neighborhoods, there's trash everywhere. It's everywhere. You know, there's no garbage cans, and that sucks. Because the result is it's very dirty, right? But oh, this is cool. I wonder where that one goes. I think there's a little rock formation right there. This is so cool, man. Very cool. Yeah, the foreign glazer. Back to that. Let's see if I can keep my train of thought here. So much cool stuff to see. So the foreign glazer is the worst because they pretend that, you know, the stuff they hear in social media is true. It's clean. It's safe. Everyone's so polite, right? Well, that's true if you only stay here, if you live here, right? But as you can see, there's no homes here. There's maybe some monks up there, some stewards of this land, people taking care of it, you know, after hours, probably some houses down here. You got people living here. That's it. But real Japan, Japanese people don't live here, right? So it's not the glazed Japan that everyone says it is. Look at this. That is a shame they cut that down. That was a big one. I wonder how old it was. Let's count the rings. All right, here we go. 1, 2, I'm joking. We're not going to count those rings. I can automatically see, because I've been in Japan so long, that's 236 years. Got it. All right. So that's the disconnect with the people that have not been to Japan, or that have even been to Japan and they came for a week vacation or a 2-week vacation. It's like, oh, well, I know what it's like there. Because I went there. I went to the city. I went to Asakusa. I went to Shibuya Crossing, and I saw people at that big crossing with all that shopping and stuff. I know about Japan. I know it. I know it's safe. I know it's polite. I know it's clean because I went there for a week. This is the epitome of the Japan glazer, right? It's the internet enthusiast. The internet professional. Man, look at that. That is so cool. So that's the most, look at that. You can drink this water actually. Nice. Actually, I already drank it off this video. Up there was another one. Up by the big shrine, the newer one. So the problem with the glazer, what is the issue with glazing, and why am I making this video, right? So the problem with glazing Japan is it's feeding the myths and the urban legends, and it's impeding progress in Japan, right? If everyone's lying, saying Japan is clean and safe and there's no bad manners, by the way, Japanese men have terrible manners in Japan, in cities where real people live. They pee on trains, they pee on platforms, they pee on the streets, they leave beer cans everywhere, they smoke everywhere, non-smoking areas, right? So all that stuff you would never know about, because the Japan glazing, mostly from foreigners that don't live in Japan, have never been here, or came for a week, went to Shibuya Crossing and took a picture. Now they're going to tell you about Japan. They don't know about those bad manners because they're not here long enough or ever to see them, right? So yeah, the bigger issue is if everyone is glazing so hard, people aren't going to actually talk about the truth, you know, about the bad manners here, about things being so dirty. And that's basically my channel in a nutshell, is the truth, you know, what's real life like in Japan. And so obviously when people are negating the premise of my entire channel, it's like I gotta talk about it, right? I gotta point out the hypocrisy. Just the uninformed masses of the Japan glazers. And that's mostly the foreigners that don't live in Japan or that have been here for a week. Spreading myths, spreading internet myths. Yeah, Japanese kids clean classrooms, they teach respect, blah, 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 blah. Well, not really, because it's those same kids that learn that in the classrooms that are later as adults throwing trash all over the ground, which is unfortunate. Hey, wait, I thought they learned respect in the schools. I thought they learned how to clean and keep stuff clean. Well, they didn't train with beer or alcohol when they were in the schools. They didn't learn how to be drunk and how to keep stuff clean while they were drunk. So that's the real world, is drunk Japan, right? Japan is like every TV commercial, almost every time, is something about whiskey or highball or beer. It's non-stop alcohol. It's ads on trains. It's beer cans everywhere. Beer cans on trains. People drinking in public. Yada, 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 right? So you get all these drunk people littering stuff everywhere, which sucks. It sucks, you know. That's real Japan. It's not glazed Japan. There's garbage everywhere. There's beer cans everywhere. It's like, man, come on, people. And there's no garbage cans, which is the biggest issue probably, besides people being drunk. There's no garbage cans for all this garbage to go anywhere. It's on the streets, family neighborhoods, yada, 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 right? Japan glazers don't see this stuff. It's a blind spot, totally invisible to the Japan glazer. They don't see any of the garbage. And they probably don't go to real family neighborhoods either. They're busy on trains going to the tourist spots, and there's garbage in those spots too, right? They're not perfect. So good luck getting the truth from the glazers, especially the foreign ones, the gaijin that don't live in Japan. Now the next type of glazer I'll talk about is the foreigners living in Japan who still are drinking the Kool-Aid, the outside glazing Kool-Aid that Japan is respectful and clean and polite and da-da-da-da-da. And yeah, you know, like some of those people, it varies. How long have they lived in Japan? Some of them are totally got the blinders on. They're in the honeymoon phase. They're here for a year, only a year, or maybe a couple years, and they're still in the honeymoon phase. Or they're here for 5 or 10 years or 15 years, and they're trying to benefit from glazing Japan. And so this is the second category, is the foreigners living in Japan that are trying to have gains. They're trying to gain something monetarily, and that's social media, by glazing Japan, even as they see and live in the truth about Japan, right? That's so cool, man. So cool. Look at this. So they're a big issue. There's lots of channels, video channels, social media, talking about Japan. Some of them are critical sometimes, and that's wonderful. It's like, chapeau. Hats off to you, good sir or good madame, because you're telling the truth, you know? But mostly, that's not the viewer base. That's not how they're going to get growth on their channels or on their social media accounts, because people want glazing. The demand is from the world that Japan is clean and perfect and polite and the glazed version of Japan, right? And so that's what a lot of the long-term social media gaijin or foreigners in social media, that's what they cater to, because that's who their audience needs to be, right? For their channel to get monetized, or social media, TikTok, and all the other options out there. People don't want my channel. They don't want the truth, kind of unfiltered, like this is just how life is here, right? A lot of people don't want that. The majority of people don't want that. They want glazed Japan, right? So that's, yeah, so that's kind of an issue. Those people, the glazers that live inside Japan, the foreigners living inside Japan with accounts, some of them are critical. Most of them are just hardcore glazers. Some of them will briefly play with the line of something that's controversial or something that people might not appreciate, and then they'll run back to safe glazing territory, right? Like, oh, this happened, but you know, like, but don't worry, Japan is still perfect. Everything is clean and safe and polite, and everything's perfect here, and Japan is great, and da-da-da, right? And that's just not the truth. It's just not real, you know, it's not real life here. So they'll sit on the fence most of the time to be safe, because that caters to the glazing base that basically comprises the world. The world is Japan glazing. So I got it. I understand. They want to, you know, search engine optimization. They want the growth. God, this place is awesome, man. So cool. I'm telling you, if you come to Tokyo, you don't need to go to the spots. You don't even need to go to Tokyo. You can go anywhere in Japan. You will always find amazing shrines and temples. They're magic, they're bliss. This is the correct Japan glazing. If you just came to Japan and you lived here and this is all you saw every day, then you could say Japan is clean and polite and respectful. It's amazing, because these places mostly are. And that's the truth. You know, like, they're really nice. There's no trash anywhere. Yeah, there's some garbage cans, but people are actually carrying all their trash out here. You know, this is a proper place to glaze Japan, to, you know, pump it up, because these places are awesome. But that's not where normal people live. That's not where anyone lives. People don't live here. They just come here for a getaway. Check this out. Grassy moss. So cool. Yep. I'm telling you, man, I'm even glazing this place hard right now. I'm stoked out on the moss on the rocks. How cool it looks. Big old stone path, mossy. Just absolutely gorgeous. I will glaze this stuff forever. And so, yeah, temples and shrines are always amazing. They everywhere. They're just amazing. Super cool. Fun fact, many Japanese don't know the difference between Shintoism or Buddhism, the current life versus the afterlife. They don't know about shrines versus temples. Talking about younger generations, right? Younger Japanese don't know a lot about this basic stuff. So, I don't either, of course, but that's just kind of a side fun fact. Here's what we're looking at now as we go to the entrance of this big, amazing shrine complex. Keep going for you here. And this is looking out into all the rice paddies of this prefecture. Absolutely stunning, right? All right, so we covered the two categories of foreign glazers. That's those that live outside Japan. They're the worst offenders. They're just, everything on social media is true and Japan is great and that's how it is, and I really want to go there. I want to live there someday. Right? And then the other category is the foreigners living inside Japan. A lot of them know the truth, but they don't really talk about the issues and the negative parts to help. I'm going to go for it, folks. Yep. Tasty. They drink the water in the Alps, in Switzerland and France and Italy. And they drink the water here in Japan because it's that clean, that delish. Last category of the glazer. That is the Japanese people. And the Japanese glazer is interesting because if you, these lines are usually a feature of Okinawa culture, so I wonder how that connects here, or if it does, or if I'm just completely clueless about all this. but a lot of homes in Japan have these cool little lion like statues, small ones at the gates of their home. And it's something about Okinawa. It's like Okinawa style lions at the entrance. So not sure what's going on here. I didn't research this shrine at all before I came here today. Just on the fly, amazing, great backdrop. Better than doing a green screen from my room and pissing you all off because I'm not really in Japan. Like, oh, really? Okay, look at all the content and how accurate it is. Like, yeah, I think I live here. You should probably read the room and pick that up in my videos with the detailed content of real life in Japan. But anyway, in case you're questioning whether I live in Japan or not, yep, this is not a fake backdrop. Yo, woman's staring at me walking down the street. Singing do-wa-diddy, konnichiwa, konnichiwa. All right, so the Japan glazer. What I was saying was, Japanese people, when you talk to them about Japan, Yahoo! Ooh, so nice. War America. My country is making all the Mondai problems. Boom, 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 boom. My country. Hidoi. Oh, many years. Yeah. Nihon mono dake kate kudasai. Yes, this means support Japanese companies only. Nice, huh? Inaka people, man, they really are friendlier, I'm telling you. So, all right, the Japanese glazer. So what I was about to say is, Japanese people, like this woman right here, right? Woman that just talked to me. If they assume that you don't know about Japan, they will try and glaze to you, and yeah, they'll try and glaze to you, and they'll follow company line. They'll follow national line, national pride, and they'll pretend that Japan is clean and polite and perfect and all this stuff, right? And that's strange because then you let them know, oh, well, actually it's not, and I actually know the truth about Japan because I live here. So for example, I was at a cafe once talking to a woman, and she turned to me and she has no idea how long I've been in Japan. Get on the road. And she says to me, oh, Japan is so safe, isn't it? Like, assuming that I'll just agree with her, and assuming that I'm a glazer myself, that I just came here to wax poetic ad nauseum about how wonderful everything here is and just be fake, you know, spread on the frosting, the glaze, more frosting, right? So she said, oh, Japan's so safe, and I'm like, really? Every female I've talked to has been sexually assaulted, and multiple times. And then I asked her, I was like, have you been sexually assaulted, Chikon, in Japan? And she's like, reluctantly, yes. And it's all just kind of washing over her face, like, oh, this guy actually knows about Japan. Like, he knows the truth about safety here. Yes, I do, and I'm not afraid to talk about the truth either, and you shouldn't be either. And so that's kind of what you get from a lot of people in Japan, is they assume that you'll disagree with them about the glazing stuff, right? But when you talk to them in detail about any of the issues here, bad manners from Japanese men, peeing everywhere, pollution, litter everywhere, they'll agree with you. They won't say, no, it's not true, because like, you got evidence, you live here, you know how everything is here already, right? So that's one aspect of the Japanese glazer. This is where we are, by the way, in case you're wondering. Tucked up on the mountain, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So most of these shrines or temples are either, you know, they're somewhere in nature. That's Shinto's premise. It's the whole gist of Shinto is nature, right? So they're butted up on a hillside like this one, or in the mountains, or by the ocean. It's just striking, absolutely amazing. Very cool homes here. down at the base of this shrine. So yeah, so Japanese glazers, once they know that you know, then they'll back down on the glazing and be like, oh, okay, got it. You understand the truth. No more bullshit here. I won't push my bullshit on you anymore, right? There's another interesting aspect of Japan glazing, and that's reinforcement, positive reinforcement. And this is really crazy. Is there's lots of shows, there's tons of shows on Japanese TV constantly stroking and jerking off glazers and glazing in Japan, and they're all the same. It's all talking to foreigners about what they think about Japan, right? So Japanese really get off on foreigners stroking Japan, like glazing hardcore and stroking Japan, right? And so most of these videos are about foreigners, tourists. So they'll be like news, not news, but TV stations interview people of all levels, professional and just YouTubers and stuff, doing the same stuff, right? Like interviewing tourists. What do you think? And the tourists are straight green. They're so new and clueless. They have no idea. They got off the plane 2 days ago, and everything is just glowing, and it's so safe and it's so clean, and they're walking over trash. Ugh. They're in Shibuya, like stumbling through piss or puke or something. It's like, what the fuck, you know? It's like unbelievable amounts of glazing, right? So this is strange, and you see these shows all the time on Japanese TV, and Japanese are fascinated with people like glazing Japan on TV. Look at that, cool. I think these are old warehouses. These, I don't know if you call it a gabled window or a sealed window, but I think those are like the old warehouses where they used to store grains and food. You know, I got a little bonsai going on here. Better start walking back, get the other angle for you. So it's that. It's glazing on Japanese TV, and it's endless. There's so many shows all the time about foreigners. What do they think? What do I think about Japan? Action, you know, and they'll catch these people on the street, and they'll get them on the street and ask them what do they think, and it's always the same BS. It's always like, oh, we're here from this country and this country, right? And they'll load up all the different countries, so it's so international, and yet they're all glazers. They're all people that are, you know, they've wanted to come to Japan for years, and they're finally here, and we're gonna interview them on day 2 of their big week or 2 week vacation. You know, some of them stay longer, some of them are here for a month, some are here for 6 months, I don't know. But the point is, all these foreigners are heavily glazed and glazing. They just got here. They don't know anything. You know, they have never went to Japanese females just randomly and just started talking and asked Japanese females, have you ever been sexually assaulted in Japan? Tell me about that. Can you tell me about your Chikon story? Also, how many times have you been sexually assaulted here in Japan? Because I want to know, is Japan safe? And I heard this is an issue, right? So do you think they're going to show that? Well, first of all, they're never going to ask that question, right? Some more of those, yeah, this is definitely a food one. That little circle symbol means it's like a warehouse. They stored food in the olden days in places like this. That's what I was told anyway. I was told they stored food, stuff like this. Very cool. Should I try and touch it? Oh my God, that is heavy. That is so heavy. This, it's wood. Man, that is heavy. Wow, super strong. Ready to survive the all-weather conditions, right? So yeah, so the interviewers on the street for the TV stations and the social media, they're not asking people, you know, have you spoken to Japanese women about being sexually assaulted? the answer obviously would be no, because they're not asking those questions. They want to get the quick soundbite, and they want it from different countries, and they'll flash up the flags: Spain, China, Canada, France, Brazil, you know, Russia, like England. They'll flash up the country, and they'll say where they're from, and they'll ask them their pitched question, and then the glazed tourist who literally has like their tunnel vision glazing goggles on, they literally can't see real Japan at all, because it's all just like shrouded like swim goggles that are fogged up in this Japan glaze. It's just like covered up with bullshit, right? So, oh man, this is cool. There's another one. Got to show you this. Very cool. So I think this area gets a lot of snow in the winter. So you see those triangles? They build those up over trees, I think, to protect the trees so they don't get heavy and fall over from the snow. I believe that's why they do it. Could be wrong. If you're a long-termer in Japan and you have the correct answer, please comment below. Yeah, like and subscribe. Ding, 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 ding. I never say that in these videos because it's obvious people don't want this content. They don't want real unfiltered content. They want glazed Japan. So why bother, right? It's all just kind of a joke anyway. So yeah, so the Japanese glazer. Everyone thinks that Japan is perfect. The Japanese do, but when you really start to talk to them, they're pretty cool, and they open up and they're like, oh, okay, you know the truth, right? And the foreign glazer, not the foreign glazer, the TV shows and the media doing the interviews, like, what do others think about Japan? Let's find out here on the streets. You know, it's like they might as well just set up a camera at Haneda or Narita Airport or Kansai, and just right as they're walking off the plane, like finishing getting through immigration, and they come out into the terminal, into Japan officially, and just get them right there. What do you think of the walls in this airport? Yeah, pretty nice, huh? Fucking pretty culturally amazing. Yeah. Like, fuck, man. Oh. So the Japan glazer, let's see if I can think of anything else about this. I didn't prepare this video at all. I'm just on the fly here talking. So what else? Examples of Japan glazers. So that's pretty much it. The big issues are the TV BS spread and Japanese people jerking off about what foreigners think about their country, and they're just asking these stupid tourists that don't know jack squat. And the assumption that Japanese people think you know nothing about Japan, and they're going to be able to pull the wool over your eyes, and that you'll just automatically agree that all this glazing garbage is true when it's not. It's just, but that assumption itself is bad for Japan too, right? The Japan glazer is also bad for Japan. Japan will never improve on real issues in modern Japan if everyone's glazing Japan collectively. People won't stop littering. People won't stop attacking females. Men won't stop peeing. Everywhere on the streets, smokers won't stop smoking publicly and flicking their cigarette butts on the streets. Yahoo! Now that's cute. Super cute. Yahoo means hello, by the way. It's how kids say. It's how kids say hello, you know. So it's specific to children. Yahoo! So this is the big issue with all glazing, whether it's from Japan or from foreigners, is Japan doesn't improve when everyone's lying about Japan, obviously, right? So if people are honest, make videos like this, make videos like the other stuff on the channel, and they start talking about it, that's good for Japan. that's good for Japan, because then the shame kicks in, and it's the foreign shame. It's, oh, foreigners are talking about our country legitimately, like talking about some of these issues, and that doesn't feel good. That doesn't make me proud. Doesn't make me proud that foreigners are talking about real serious issues here, and they're showing it with video evidence. Yeah, so that's going to be a little hard pill to swallow, because Japanese arrogance and Japanese pride is extremely high. Like, it's almost always at peak, right? That is the resting level for Japanese glazing, is peak arrogance, and I guess you call it ethnocentricity. So foreigners like me talking about the truth unapologetically is a hard pill to swallow for most Japanese, right? And it's funny, I was talking about the glazers, the foreign glazers living in Japan, making social media, talking about them, you know, sitting on the fence. Sometimes they'll veer into controversy for like one post or something, and then they'll run back to safe glazing and sitting on the fence. And here's why. When those people make videos that are somewhat controversial, not even close to my video level of honesty and controversy, people start calling them racist. You don't like Japan. It's like, what? They're just talking about their life. They're talking about their experience in Japan. What's racist about that? You know, like, maybe you can't handle the truth and you're not ready for the world. You're not ready for people to talk honestly about Japan. So, yeah. Where does that leave me and my channel? Basically, no growth. And, you know, obviously people are going to watch my videos and be like, you hate Japan. No, I like honest Japan. I like honesty, right? So I hark on other countries too. It's not just being honest about Japan. My country's the worst. My country kills millions decade after decade, and it never stops. So that's my thought about glazing. Hope I covered it enough for you. If there is anyone that has watched to the end, wow, chapeau, hats off to you, because this was completely unplanned. And if you can, try and share the truth. You don't need to share my videos, but share the truth about Japan, even if it's negative. The goal is to make Japan better, actually make it safe, make it clean, make it polite. So Japan is a place that people really can come to and enjoy.